Is Kyle Tucker heading to the Bronx? Parker, after what the Yankees just experienced in the ALDS, I think Yankees fans are clamoring for some Kyle Tucker. I think so.
Yeah, I think that they've been clamoring for Kyle Tucker for a while. I think they were clamoring for Kyle Tucker last season. I think that all season, a lot of what I've been hearing from Yankees fans is like Kyle Tucker probably headed to the Bronx next year. They're really banking on it, which is fine. I think that the Yankees are a genuine, very good target for Kyle Tucker. And being that the way that the season ended, because they were eliminated by the Blue Jays in the ALDS, a team that at the beginning of the season nobody had on the radar in terms of being the contenders that they ended up being. Aaron Judge straight up labeled this year a failure. And I don't know where Yankees fans currently are at in terms of Anthony Volpe. We all know now that he was playing through a labrum tear through most of the season, which probably had a significant amount to do with the fact that he was pretty bad defensively. It wasn't his non-throwing shoulder, but like a shoulder, man, is going to hurt you basically no matter what you're doing and no matter what action you're doing performing on the field. So he's had surgery. And I think after the way that this season ended, going into this free agency period, there isn't a Juan Soto, there isn't a Shohei Ohtani. I don't think anybody this offseason is going to make $500 million. I think Kyle Tucker's the guy that needs to end up in the Bronx if they're going to make this lineup a lineup that truly plays to its strengths in the most complete way possible.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I wanted to talk about Yankees with you, because we're essentially doing this exercise, you and I, where we're going to go through all the teams that were kicked out of the first round of their playoffs. Well, if you didn't play the wild card in the first round, or the AL and NLDSs, and go through and think about what these teams are really going to need. Like, what is 2026 and beyond look like for them? Is this all doom and gloom, or is there a path to being even more successful in 26? And the Yankees, we've talked about this on and off, where the Yankees continue to be this team where they rely heavily on Aaron Judge. They've relied heavily on a couple of really strong starters, but there's a lot of question marks around the I would say more the lineup now, the rotation. The rotation, Parker, they actually look like going into 26 with Gerrit Cole coming back. They could have one of the best rotations of baseball, probably only behind the Dodgers.
I agree. But how many times in the last 5 years have we heard that the Yankees have one of the best rotations in baseball?
Fair.
And it has been true on paper. But then, like, Carlos Rodón has an off year 2 years ago, and then Cole has Tommy John last year. Like, if Carlos Rodón is this year's Carlos Rodón last year, and Gerrit Cole wins a Cy Young and the Yankees end up in the World Series, like, we could be talking about the Yankees winning the World Series last season. It's a constant litany of year after year of everything not totally coming together the way that the Yankees, I feel like, need and want it to. And I think that a big thing that they need to focus on improving is, I don't know that the bullpen with the names that they have in it is going to be as bad next season as it was this season. I think you can kind of count on some of those guys at least having bounce back seasons next year. But what they absolutely need to address is the philosophy coming from Aaron Boone. Like, are we going to play our best players, or are we going to be the guy who platoons every single game? And that's fine. Like, you can be the guy that platoons religiously during the regular season. A lot of managers do that, but you have to be able to throw the book out a little bit when you get to the playoffs. We saw that the game that they lost against the Red Sox, they were completely kneecapped by the fact that the Red Sox happened to have a left-handed starting pitcher in Gerrit Cole. And we saw the whole, Gerrit Crochet. And we saw the holes in that lineup when facing a dominant lefty starter. Like, they were glaring. Ben Rice is not the same hitter against left-handed pitching as he is against right-handed pitching. He is significantly worse and looks very uncomfortable hitting against lefties. Jazz Chisholm does have, I think it's a high 600s, but I believe it's in the 600 OPS against left-handed pitching. So, like, you have a heavily left-handed lineup, which is something that you need to have if you're the New York Yankees, because you have the short porch in right field. If you're not playing into that strength, what do you even have the stadium for? So, but they need really reliable options from the right side of the plate if they're going to compete against that left-handed starter. And there's plenty of incredible left-handed starters in the postseason. And I have officially reached the point with the New York Yankees where I'm willing to put them in a similar category as the Dodgers, where they are no longer playing for the regular season. The regular season can be as up and down and as tumultuous as it wants. The New York Yankees are playing for the postseason. Yankees fans will tell me that this is how it's been for a long time. Maybe it has been, but the problem has been, for sure, that they haven't shown up in the postseason.
Yeah, so we're throwing like everything in the kitchen sink at you guys right now as we talk about the Yankees, which is fair because there's so much going on with this team. And like you said, Parker, they're punching a ticket to the dance every year, but they're not going very far. So this is, I think, a very self-reflective year for this team because yet again, they are in the playoffs. They cannot get far. So what truly pushes them over the edge? And I look at some of these things and I want to run through them. And I want to start with the rotation because you kind of you rightfully so question that rotation. So if we're looking at it today, we're assuming Gerrit Cole's coming back healthy and everything's fine. Max Fried, Carlos Rodon. We have breakout star Cam Schlittler, and then Luis Heel is penciled in for your 5. But
yeah, you got Parker, a Will Warren in there, but like that's depth.
Yeah, right, and that's depth. But you mentioned something earlier I think is important here is you're saying that they should go and grab another top of the rotation starter and maybe put Luis Heel in the bullpen.
Maybe, or maybe he's a depth piece. Like you will not have 5 starters make 35 starts. You're not going to do it. It's not going to work. Don't count on it. You're going to need 6, 7. Look at the Dodgers. For most of this season, they had like 4.5 starting pitchers. When they started the season, started spring training with like 9. And
it's wild.
If you're going to be the team that makes deep postseason runs and has 4 reliable starting pitchers to bring into the postseason, maybe you do need to sign another top of the rotation arm. They have 3. They genuinely have. They have 2 aces and a number 2. I would put Carlos Rodon in the number 2 category and Fried and Cole as legit aces. Like, for all intents and purposes, Cole is still defending his Cy Young Award next season, considering he didn't get to pitch this season. So
yeah.
The Yankees are dealing from a position of strength. I just think that you have to strengthen your strengths. I think that you have to. It is cheaper and easier for a team that has like the 2nd or 3rd highest payroll in baseball it's the 3rd. It's no way it's above the Mets. But it is cheaper and easier to supplement that portion of your roster than it is to completely tear your infield down to the studs and build it back up from scratch, which in reality might be something that needs to happen.
Oh man, I mean, I agree with you. I think when you look at some of the things and the Dodgers and Yankee comparison, I think is what you have to do here. I think this is the mental exercise you need to do. And I think particularly when you look at that rotation, like you said, I mean, the Dodgers are getting through this postseason because of their rotation. We have guys in the NLCS right now that have gone a complete game and pitched 8 innings. That one inning the Dodgers have pitched of their relief pitchers so far in 3 games. That's wild. So
that has a lot to do with the fact that their
games.
bullpen had a 6 ERA in the DS. So
sure. However, if your starting pitchers aren't busting ass out there, you're putting someone else out there. It's not going to be Yamamoto. It's not going to be Snell. So I look at this Yankees team and I think, and you look at that list of 5, you mentioned your 5th starter, Luis Heel or Will Warren. Outside of that, it drops off pretty steep. I mean, there's nothing really after that. And that is the huge difference between the Dodgers and the Yankees. So for me, the Yankees need 7 to 10 starting pitchers, and they just do not have that depth whatsoever.
No, I agree. And I think the 7, maybe the 10 number's a little high, but I think 7, and they have 5. They have 5 right now. There's not a lot of teams that can say that they can have 5 starting pitchers that are very solid and give you the best chance, give you a very good chance to win on any given day. Every single one of those 5 guys that you mentioned between Cole, Rodon, Fried, Heel, and Schlittler look like they're going to give you a more than 50% chance to win every game each of them start, which is great. The problem remains. Well, it's still, I do think that not a lot of teams have that.
Well, true, but however, that's not enough to get to the World Series. Like we're that has been proved this offseason, or no, excuse me, this postseason, that even if you have 7 starters, never assume, and GMs will tell you this, never assume you're done acquiring pitching. You are never satisfied.
No,
This is why.
there is literally no way to have enough pitching. I mean, I'll tell you right now as a Red Sox fan, I thought we were coming in with like 8 starters this past season.
Yeah.
Cooper Criswell goes down, Cutter Crawford, in like almost opposite order. Cooper Criswell goes down. Before that, we had Richard Fitz go down. Before that, we had Cutter Crawford go down. Lucas Giolito missed time in the postseason, which is like the worst possible time that he could possibly have missed. And if not for Gerrit Cole being an absolute horse, and honestly, if not for the White Sox doing, like, the White Sox look like such geniuses in the way that they marketed Crochet in the offseason now, because they literally were like, look, see, we built him up to 200 innings. He's never done it, but he's totally
Right.
built up for it last season. And then he comes out, Crochet hits the 200 inning mark. He leads the AL in strikeouts. Like, he's able to be that guy because of the way the White Sox were. And if not for that Gerrit Crochet performance, if not for the White Sox developing a starting pitcher really well last season, the Red Sox don't even make the postseason. And
Yeah.
we thought we were coming in with 8 starters. So, like, that's the point. You know, you can't count on how we can beat the horse for the rest of the night. But I just think that the Yankees have to address the starting rotation. And then there's question marks in the lineup that I think we also should address.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think the first big question is those folks that are going to be falling off due to free agency, right? So we do have number one, the big one, obviously Cody Bellinger. He went ahead and opted out of his deal. We have Trent Grisham. There's also a significant one. He did amazing things for this team this year, but again, bringing it back to the main point here of Kyle Tucker. If you're sitting here, Parker, and you have to choose only one of Cody Bellinger and Kyle Tucker with no regard to the money, it's Tucker, right?
Well, yeah, I think that Tucker has the better track record over the course of his career. I think that Tucker is a better fit for Yankee Stadium. I actually am curious. I'm going to look this up here for a second. Once I plug in my camera because it's dying. But the numbers for Cody Bellinger, in terms of hard hit percentage, because we saw in the last good season he had when he was with Chicago, Cody Bellinger's hard hit percentage significantly dropped, but he was a big BABIP guy. He'd get the ball in play and he would get himself a couple hits. So I'm going to look it up right now and see where Bellinger actually falls, because here's the deal. If the numbers compare, if the numbers are somewhat similar, then I want Cody Bellinger because he's going to be cheaper.
Sure.
But I'm looking right now at his Baseball Savant, and Cody Bellinger is 26th percentile in hard hit percentage and 24th percentile in average exit velo, and he's not getting that high exit velo or hard hit percentage very often because his barrel percentage is 36%. So looking now at Tucker, I think this is the kind of guy that, I mean, we kind of know who Tucker was coming into this year, and yeah, his sweet spot percentage is 80%. His bat speed is in the 47th percentile, but his squared up percentage and hard hit and average exit velo are higher than a Cody Bellinger, and it's only 53rd percentile for average exit velo. But that's enough of an increase for me to pay for it when he's hitting from the left side of the plate in a place like Yankee Stadium. If you go look at Kyle Tucker versus Cody Bellinger's Savant pages, a lot more red on Kyle Tucker, and in a place like Yankee Stadium, that just becomes even more valuable than the already 90th percentile batted run value that he has. So maybe Kyle Tucker is the answer in the Bronx, because he is a lefty that I will put into a lineup against a lefty. You know, I'll put Kyle Tucker up against Gerrit Cole. The numbers are probably going to dip because that's how splits work. But okay, so against lefties, he actually has a higher batting average and a 20-point difference in his OPS. He still hit for over an 800 OPS against lefties. Like,
That's, yeah.
You got to bring Kyle Tucker onto this team, I think, if you're the New York Yankees. And I think that they're a team that could. I don't think the Dodgers are going to be going for him. I think their outfield's pretty full. I don't think that the Red Sox are going to be showing out any money for him. I think that their outfield looks pretty full with young talent. Unless the Red Sox like deal a Wilyer Abreu and Jarren Duran in the same offseason and sign Kyle Tucker, which I just don't see happening. I don't see how Kyle Tucker doesn't end up in New York unless he decides to stay with the Cubs.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, I mean, folks, we're looking at the Yankees here. We're going to be following in this offseason because this is a team, Parker, that is going to be feeling a lot of pressure to make some improvements, whether that's in the rotation, adding a bat like Kyle Tucker, and adding folks that can just get on base and not relying on the home run. That's going to be big for this team.
Yeah, I genuinely think there needs to be a significant retool of this infield. We don't need to necessarily get into it right now, but like Volpe's got to get better. And what the heck's going on at second and third base? I don't know. You got to figure that out.
You got it. Well, folks, Cashman's not going anywhere. Boone's certainly not going anywhere. So this offseason, we'll be tracking the Yankees and see what they can do in the Bronx to finally make it and win a World Series.